welcome back. This is Mrs. Johnson, your librarian, and you are watching I Lost My Library Book, a YouTube channel created to help you keep in touch with your library. Our theme for this week is library, and today I'm going to read you a story about one of my favorite mice. Have you ever noticed that there are a lot of mice in books written for kids? There are. Take a look. My favorite mouse, though, is the library mouse. Yeah. So this is a story I'm going to read to you today. It's called Library Mouse, and it's written and illustrated by Daniel Kirk. He's the one who came up with Library Mouse, and this is his very first book about the library mouse. And since then, he's written quite a few others that are also pretty special to me. I hope you like this one. Let's go. Library Mouse by Daniel Kirk. Sam was a library mouse. His home was in a little hole in the wall behind the children's reference books, and he thought that life was very good indeed. Every day, when the library was full of people walking up and down the aisles, studying, checking out books, and working on the computers, Sam was curled up in his little hole, sound asleep. But every night, when the people went home and the room was dark and quiet, the library belonged to Sam. And every night Sam read, and he read and he read and he read. Sam read picture books and chapter books. He read biographies and poetry, cookbooks and sports books, fairy tales and ghost stories, and mysteries by the dozen. Sam's mind was filled with facts and information and images of faraway places, and his imagination brimmed over with wonder and fantasy. One night, Sam decided that it was time that he wrote a book of his own. Sam folded over some little squares of paper he took from the librarian's desk to make the pages, and then he found a pencil that had rolled underneath a shelf, and he began to write. Write what you know, Sam had read in a book about writing. So Sam wrote about being a mouse. He drew the pictures for his book by posing in his little mirror and then sketching what he saw. Sam worked very, very hard, and finally his first book was done. He called it Squeak, A Mouse's Life, and he wrote on the cover words and pictures by Sam. He went to the biography and autobiography section of the library and he tucked his first book onto the shelf. Then he went back to his little hole in the wall and waited. The next afternoon, sunlight streamed in through the library windows. "What's this?" asked a girl whose teacher had sent her to the library to do a book report. I've never seen anything like this before," said the librarian, and she put Squeak, A Mouse's Life on her desk, and later she showed it to the other librarians. Sam decided to write another book. It was called The Lonely Cheese, and working on the book made him feel hungry. It was a good thing that he always found so many crumbs to eat by the trash basket in the hallway. When he had finished the illustrations, Sam scurried to the picture book section and proudly placed his latest book on the shelf. Then he went back to his little hole in the wall and waited. The next morning, sunlight streamed in through the library windows. "What's this?" asked a little boy who was looking for a big book about trucks. "It's another book by Sam," said the librarian. "Just who is this Sam?" she thought to herself, and she put The Lonely Cheese on her desk, and later she showed it to the children at story time. Sam decided to write a chapter book. It was called The Mystery of Mouse Mansion, and it gave Sam goosebumps when he wrote down the scary parts. The full moon was shining down through the windows of the darkened library when Sam crept over to the mystery section and sneakily placed his book on the shelf. Then he went back to his little hole in the wall and waited. The next day, sunlight streamed in through the library windows. "What's this?" asked a teenager who was looking for a good creepy book to read before bed. We have got to find out who this Sam is, said the librarian. I'll leave a little note on the bulletin board and tell him that I would like to meet our new author. She put The Mystery of Mouse Mansion on her desk, and later she showed it to the writing class that came in after school. That night, Sam found the note. It said, Dear Sam, all of us at the library have been enjoying your stories immensely. We are all wondering who this mysterious Sam really is. Whoever you are, you certainly have a lot of talent. Not everyone has it in them to write a single book, let alone 3. We think it would be fun to have a Meet the Author Day with you as our special guest. The children would love to hear you read your books and share some of your secrets for writing. Yours truly, Mrs. Forrester, Head Librarian. Sam felt very nervous. He was happy that the children at the library liked his books. He was flattered that they wanted to meet him. But mice, as a rule, are very shy when it comes to meeting people. Sam could not understand why people thought that writing and making up stories was so hard. If only they would try, they might find out that writing was really lots of fun. So Sam had an idea. He went to the librarian's desk and got some supplies. All night long, he wrote and drew and snipped and folded and stapled his little rectangles of paper into mouse-sized books. In the morning, when the librarian opened up the children's room, there was a sheet of paper taped to the door. Meet the author today, it said. A little girl was the first to see Sam's display all set up on the front table. What is this? She asked. And there sat a tissue box with a pair of pencils taped to the sides and a banner stretched across the top. On the banner was written, Meet the Author, with an arrow pointing down. Do you think Sam is in there? Is he going to give away his secret, his surprise that he is the author? Let's see. The girl bent over to look in the empty tissue box. Oh, she said in surprise. For there at the bottom of the box lay Sam's little mirror, and in the mirror the little girl saw her own face smiling up at her. Me, she said, an author? And next to the mirror was a tiny stack of blank books and a pile of pencils that Sam had sharpened with his little teeth. All that day, and for many more thereafter, people came to the little display to meet the author. Soon there was a whole shelf full of books written and illustrated by people who had never written a book before, telling stories that had never been told, like The Perfect Pet by Russell, or ABC in the Library by Izzy, Zip Zoom by Mike. Sam was a library mouse. His home was in a little hole in the wall behind the children's reference books. All that night Sam sat in his hole, thinking and thinking about the next story that he would write. Would it be a mystery, an adventure, a funny book, a true story? There were so many stories to tell. Aha, he thought. I'll just have to write one of each. He picked up his pencil and he got to work. The end. So there's our little library mouse. Now you know Sam, my favorite mouse in a book. So in this story, Sam was an author and an illustrator. I wonder if any of you are authors or illustrators. I really love drawing. I'm not sure if I'm an author, but I'd love to be an illustrator. If you're interested, you could get some supplies and make a little tiny mousy book of your own. Just find some tiny little pieces of paper and you can cut them and maybe staple them together and write your own book. What would your book be written about? Would it be a book about the Cat in the Hat? Or a book about birds? You can write a story about anything you want when you're an author. Thanks for coming. I miss you all. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you tomorrow with another story. Bye!